Vogelak, who has already kicked a 35-yard field goal, will now attempt one from the 20. Up. And it's good. Right through the upright feet, Vogelak. In NFL Monday Night Football, the New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys continues from the Cotton Bowl. With the score, New York 6, Dallas 6.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watched any of my videos, maybe subscribed to my channels, or maybe give one of my videos a thumbs up, or maybe left a comment, or anything at all. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to get my channel up and running, and anything you can do for me and my channel, I greatly appreciate. So thank you so much in advance. It means so much to me. I saw this article, and it was kind of positive. Now, I try to, every day I go through, on Google on the New York Giants or New York Giants news or something like that, and I'll just start looking through some articles, and I'll read pretty much anything. Some things I won't read are like when they're just outrageously, stupidly wrong or negative or something. Like I saw one that said Kadarius Toney is already labeled as a bust. I mean, I don't know what was in the article. Haven't read it. Not going to read it. If my life depended upon it, I'm not going to read it. I mean, just stupid things like that. That basically they trying to put out stuff that'll grab attention. That'll get people to read. Oh my, what? He's a what? What does that say? Let me read this. I don't waste my time with that garbage. Unfortunately, some people need to do that, to try to get people to read their articles or not. I put this out because I enjoy doing this. I love the Giants. So if nobody watches any of my videos ever, I still love it. I'm still going to keep doing it. I love doing it. So, it is what it is. But I mean, I'll read, pretty much anything. I mean, like even the negative things, even if it's, if it's makes sense, if it's common sense. Like, like the title might be like the Giants' offensive line was ranked as one of the worst last year. Yeah, that makes sense. Daniel Jones needs to cut down on the turnovers in his third season. Yeah, that makes sense. Saquon Barkley needs to stay healthy or something like that if he wants a long-term contract. Yeah, I mean, things like that, it ain't no denying that. It is what it is. I'll read that, sure, absolutely. But so every now and then I see something like this, it's positive. I'm like, oh, all right. It's they were ranking the top 5 sleep Bleacher Report. I'll leave a link in the article here so you can look at it if you want to. But the Bleacher Report, they ranked the NFL's top 5 sleeper teams for the 2021 season. Now, the top 5 teams they had, were they had the Bears, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Steelers. And when I'm thinking sleeper teams, I'm thinking like Giants. I mean, the Giants last year were 1-7 at one point. We finished the season, last 8 games on a 5-3 note. And if we had a little bit of luck in the first half, things certainly would have been different, but that's all water under the bridge. But I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like sleeper teams that maybe weren't good or didn't have a good record and maybe will become good. So I'm thinking, I'm like, they got the Bears, the Cardinals, and the Raiders on there. I'm like, they were all 8-8 last year. I mean, none of them were like, none of them were like barn burner, horrible. But none of them, they're all 8-8. None of them had losing records. I'm like, I don't get it. And then they got the sleeper team. It's in this order. They got the Bears at the number 5 sleeper team. Then they got the Raiders at number 4. The Cardinals at number 3. The Giants at number 2. Then they got the Steelers as the number 1 sleeper team. I'm like, man, weren't the Steelers 12-4 last year? I'm like, what are they supposed to sleeper team? What are they going to go 17-0 this year? I mean, I don't get it. But what it was Bleacher Report went over. See, DraftKings has a win total for all the teams, and the Bleacher Report went over each team, and saw the win total that DraftKings predicts, them. And, obviously, DraftKings is there to make some money. So, they'll give you a win total, and obviously you can bet on it. Well, Bleacher Report went over and they took these 5 teams that they definitely think, without a shadow of a doubt, will beat the win total that DraftKings predicts. Now, the Bears, their win total is 7.5. Bleacher Report thinks that the Bears will win at least 8 games. So, I mean, it's not saying a lot, maybe 8 or maybe 9. I mean, even if they win 9, they'll be 9-8. Last year they were 8-8. I mean, to me, that's not much of a sleeper team. I don't know. Then they got the Raiders. The Raiders, DraftKings thinks that their win total is 7 or, that's their win total will be 7. So you got to bet either higher or lower, So Bleacher Report thinks that they're going to win at least 8 or maybe 9. Well, they were 8-8 last year. So, I mean, that's not really, to me, that's pretty much about what they were last year. Then they got the Cardinals. They got, the DraftKings got their win total at 8. Bleacher Report thinks that the Cardinals are going to certainly win more than 8. So, I mean, they'll win, what they're saying is by the win at least 9, maybe 10. So maybe they'll be 10-7. I can't see much more, because that is a tough division. The Seahawks, the Rams, the 49ers, and the Cardinals. That's like something like, if you're going back in the day, like sometimes with the NFC East, everybody would just beat each other up. I mean, back in like the 80s, the 90s, and sometimes you had the Eagles and the Giants and the Redskins and the Cowboys just all beating each other up. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough division for the Cardinals to really be like 12-5 or 11-6 or something like that. So they got their win total at 8, and Bleacher Report thinks the Cardinals are going to win more than 8 games. Then they got the Giants. The DraftKings has the Giants at 7 wins, and Bleacher Report thinks the Giants are going to win more. So they think they're going to win probably at least 8 or maybe 9. Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, if they win 9, they won 6 the year before. You go from 6 to 9, and if they wind up with 9, they'll have a winning record. They'll be 9-8. They were 6-10, and they were maybe 9-8. Okay, but then they got the Steelers at 8.5 wins. So they think that the Steelers are definitely going to win at least 9 or 10. Well, I'm like, wow. I mean, they won 12. I mean, they lost some offensive linemen. They lost Bud Dupree. But, I mean, they got Najee Harris in the draft, Big Ben's there, Mike Tomlin's the coach. I mean, they got Juju, they got Chase Claypool. I mean, that defense is still there. I mean, I don't know why they got them all the way down to 8.5. I mean, the one thing is, it's just kind of funny because it's like, they put Steelers at 8.5. What's everybody going to do? Everybody's going to bet over. And then that DraftKings not in it to lose money. They're in there to make money. So that one kind of gives you a little thought there, what might be going on. But I mean, if you bet under the 8.5 for the Steelers, right? So you're saying that they're going to win 8 games or less. That means you say the best they can be would be 8-9 if you bet under. Do you know that's a little history for you? 1972, the first time that the Pittsburgh Steelers won their division was 1972. It was the year of the Immaculate Reception. If you ever see on the football films, Franco Harris catching a ball and rebounded off of either an offensive player or a defensive player. Franco Harris caught it. It was in the playoffs against the Raiders, and he ran it in for a touchdown. The Steelers were losing 7-6. It was 4th and 10. There was 22 seconds left to go in the game. And he ran into the end zone. They wound up winning 13-7. 1972. They were 11-3. They won their division. So if you go from 1972 to this year, 2021, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's 50 years, 50 seasons. Okay, not including obviously 2021 because we haven't played it yet. But since 1972, you know how many losing seasons they've had? 7. And out of those 7 losing seasons, 3 times they were 7-9. So that's not much of a losing record. Okay. Their worst record since 1972, all right, was in 1988. They were 5-11. Do you know how many times the New York Giants have won less than 5 games in a season since 1972? 9 times. They've won 4 games or less. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a model of success since 1972. Big Ben has been in the league since 2004. The last time the Steelers had a losing season was in 2003. So the Steelers have not had a losing season since Big Ben's been in the league. And even when Big Ben in 2019 was hurt, he played in like 2 games and he hurt his elbow and he was out. Mike Tomlin somehow still found a way to make the Pittsburgh Steelers 8-8. So now you got Big Ben back, Mike Tomlin there. I can't see any way humanly possible where they're going to have a losing record. I can't see that at all. You got a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback. Somehow they're going to win at least 9 or 10 games. Now it's going to be a tough division with the Browns and the Ravens. I'll give you that. But, I mean, I have a hard time believing that the Steelers are going to wind up with fewer than 8.5 wins. I mean, having like 7 or 8 wins. I really have a hard time believing that. But even still, I mean, I'm thinking like, the sleeper team, Steelers. I'm like, what? I mean, the Giants, to me, are the ultimate sleeper team out of these 5. They were, well, not horrible last year. They had some bad luck. They played a couple bad games, but they were 6-10. If there's any sleeper team here, and the DraftKings gives them 7 wins, and you got to pick over, you got to pick over. I mean, if you're a betting person, I'm not. Okay, I learned that the hard way. But if you're a betting person, you have to bet over. On defense, they lost Dalvin Tomlinson. Okay, we didn't really replace him, but what we added on firepower on the defense, we got Patrick Graham coming back. What we added on defense more than makes up for Dalvin Tomlinson, the loss of him. Now, even if Leo Lyon doesn't get 11.5 sacks, say he takes a little step back, he only gets 5 or 6. Okay. I think the firepower we have in the secondary and the edge rushers and all, I think more than going to make up for any loss that he might have. Then you go on the offensive side, and you got Saquon coming back, right? And the plethora of running backs that we got, the plethora of tight ends that we got, the weapons that we have. Daniel Jones' 2nd season in the system. I really, really have a hard time believing. Even with the questions at offensive line, I have a hard time believing that we're going to win less than 7 games. The only thing that could make it where the Giants win less than 7 games this year would be, and I don't want to jinx them, but injuries. If we have injuries, I mean, I think if something happens to Saquon again, if there is no running game, if the offensive line is as bad as some people think it might wind up being, if Daniel Jones doesn't take a step up or whatever, and maybe we get a few key injuries, like maybe Bradbury gets hurt or something like Blake Martinez or something like that, and they miss some significant time. I can see there where the Giants would wind up winning less than 7 games. But I'll tell you what, if everybody stays relatively healthy, I don't see any way that the Giants win less than 7 games this year. So, if you're a betting person, I'm not. I said I learned it the hard way. Take the Giants and take the over. They're going to be at least 8-9 this year, if not 9-8. But I do got to give DraftKings some credit, okay? Because they gave the Giants win total at a 7. I think the last time I checked Vegas, Vegas ain't got no love for the Giants. Vegas, I think, had the Giants win total at like a 6. So, kudos to DraftKings. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!